we need this guy to start making strides. Let's stay away from blocked field goals. Let's stay away from all those things. And hopefully Andrew Thomas stays healthy. As OTAs continues to progress, man, we are seeing a little bit of flashes of what we could see this upcoming season. And right now we're going to be talking about the offensive line and the new look offensive line for this upcoming year. If you didn't know, last year for the Giants, the offensive line was a disaster. League high sacks, 85 allowed, as well as the most sacks you've seen in almost 50 years. It was a crazy stat, and the offensive line was one of the worst I've ever seen in my life. And now heading into it, they hired a new offensive line coach. They brought in some guys. We're going to be talking about the offensive line that they've been putting out there in OTAs. And now things can change, but we got to look at it for face value and look at what it is for now. And we'll be going position by position. And the biggest headliner for this upcoming season and the biggest key reason whether the Giants will, flip the offensive line and perform well or not is going to be hinged on Evan Neal. Evan Neal, the former first-round pick, 7th overall pick in his class. This guy was supposed to be a stand-up right tackle that was going to be able to shut things down coming out of Alabama, and it just hasn't translated for him. It hasn't. His rookie year, plagued by injuries, and also he was struggling a bit, trying to catch up to these speed rushers, man. These edge rushers are a lot faster than you've seen in college, and he's been struggling with that tremendously. Second year coming in, his sophomore season, we thought things were going to change. It looked like he was getting the right help that he needed to, and still, he was having the same issues, if not worse. And when you look at the sack total numbers, it's not going to be a lot of big numbers coming out of that when you look at what he did last season. But the pressure rate was too high for my liking, especially considering you're the right tackle. What makes left tackle so important is that that's the backside of the QB. The QB cannot see whoever's coming behind him. So obviously the right tackle, not as important, but definitely you need to be able to at least protect the edge a bit. And for Evan Neal, he hasn't been able to do that yet, man. Heading into the season, he's working with Carmen Brasillo, the new offensive line coach. And some things that Carmen, noted, don't blame a guy when he's been injured and also not playing well. Like when he's injured and not playing well, most of the time it's tied together. Now, it's hard for us to really key in on that because we're heading into year 3. And you already know, for New York media, let alone for how we should operate as a fan base, we need this guy to start making strides. We haven't seen none of it yet. We haven't seen any of it. So hopefully this upcoming season, we continue to see that. He really needs to stay healthy because if not, who knows? We signed some guys that can possibly play at right tackle. We're going to be talking about him shortly. But Evan Neal is very contingent on this offensive line being good. If Evan Neal continues to struggle, if he continues to not be able to hold down the edge, it's going to be a hard year for whoever's at quarterback this upcoming season. And as we know, Dan Jones should be the starting quarterback this upcoming season. But injuries happen, things happen, and you saw it last year. When the offensive line is not holding up like it should, it's going to make it hard for any single QB that's playing. So hopefully Evan Neal turns it around. He's probably the most important player on this offensive line for this upcoming season, hands down. Next player we're going to be talking about is Runyan Jr. He was noted to be at right guard. He played right guard for the Packers as well. We were wondering where he was going to play and potentially if we were going to see him end up being on the side with Andrew Thomas. Right now, he's at right guard. Now, Runyan Jr. is known for his pass blocking ability, not really known for his run blocking. He played all the games that you could play. He didn't miss a single game these last 4 seasons, so that's definitely something you want to see. And the guard position last year and the past couple of years has also been weak as well. You could look at every single offensive lineman on this past couple of years teams, and the only thing you can hang your hat on is Andrew Thomas at left tackle. So last year we had Glowinski rotating in, we had Josh Azudu rotating in this past couple of years, as well as Ben Bredesen. Now we're gonna have Runyan Jr. He was probably the most highest paid offensive lineman brought in by us, and you saw the guard market was booming last year, this past free agency. So Runyan Jr. coming in at right guard, hopefully he's able to solidify some things. And the biggest thing is that, listen, the quickest route to the quarterback is straight up the middle. You see what Dexter Lawrence is able to do. So if we don't have the protection on the inside, which the last couple of years you haven't seen, so it can wreak havoc on everything. So we need Runyan Jr. to step in and hopefully, solidify some things and play better than what Glowinski did. Possibly Ben Bredesen, even though he kind of played well. Josh Azudu, you got to play better than those guys, for sure. Listen, hopefully we don't have to see Marcus McKeithen go ahead and start at right guard. That's another, ingredient to why this offensive line was bad last year. Marcus McKeithen hasn't showed improvement. And hopefully, once again, we're going to hang our hats on the offensive line coach. We know last year was a disaster, and, the talent is here. We drafted guys, we brought in guys, the talent is here. The key is trying to get these guys to develop and, all blend well together. Injuries also are the big reason why they probably weren't as cohesive as you would want them to. You want the offensive line to all, be familiar with each other and all perform well with each other. But if some guys are hurt, you got guys rotating in 24/7. It's going to be hard to really build that chemistry and have a cohesive unit on the offensive line. And we need that. If there's anything we need, at least have the same guys starting day in and day out, trying to get their reps in together. I don't want to see individual guys rotating in. Now, next player we're going to be talking about is John Michael Schmitz at the center position. Now, John Michael Schmitz had some rough patches last year, but overall, he did what we expected as a rookie center. A rookie center coming into the league, obviously the first year in the league. John Michael Schmitz did make the all-rookie team for the offensive line, and he performed well at times. There was some times that he would kind of get overpowered by, a couple of stronger defensive linemen. And listen, we talked about him when we drafted him. Going against Dexter Lawrence day in and day out is going to only make him better because that's the best defensive lineman he's going to face all year. Best defensive lineman. So hopefully he continues to, get his legs up under him, get another year of weight training, and hopefully he's going to get a little bit stronger and you won't see him get overpowered like that. For pass blocking, I feel like you didn't really see too much of a downside for him. Now, run blocking, we want to see him, be utilized more. Seeing what he did in Minnesota, he was able to, be agile and pull. We didn't really see that, coming from the Giants last year. So who knows what this running game is going to look like. Hopefully John Michael Schmitz makes more strides and becomes a better center in this league. That's all we want. He definitely solidified the position a bit compared to what we had the past couple years. So hopefully, he comes in and continues to do his thing. Left guard. Now, this is the player that I wanted to speak on, Jermaine Eluemunor. He was signed, and we thought he was going to come in and start a right tackle. Now, they're giving Evan Neal another shot. I don't blame them for giving Evan Neal another shot, but I just wonder how long is his leash? How long are you going to give Evan Neal to be able to perform and possibly have a chance to flip things around? Is this going to be an all-season thing? Because Eluemunor has started at right tackle. Now, the only position he hasn't started at in his whole career yet has been left guard. He's played right tackle and he's also played left tackle as well as right guard. His flexibility is what makes him, obviously a valuable piece, and bringing him in was huge for us. I definitely love to see him at right tackle because we know how right tackle has been, and people talked about potentially moving Evan Neal to guard. They're not going to do that yet. For me, I prefer Eluemunor to be paired up with Evan Neal, but, I don't hate him for it. John Runyan Jr. did come in as a right guard, so hopefully he helps out Evan Neal a bit. And Eluemunor, as a left guard, we haven't seen it yet. We want to see what he's able to do. He was brought in to the league as a right guard and transitioned to right tackle and played, meaningful snaps and good snaps at right tackle. He's not the best right tackle in the league, but he's a solid right tackle. And last year we didn't have a solid tackle besides Andrew Thomas. So hopefully Eluemunor is able to hold it down at left guard. It's going to be new for him, and we'll see if they continue to head that way into the season with Eluemunor at left guard. And we don't have to spend too much time on Andrew Thomas. We already know he is a top 3 left tackle in this league. The biggest thing with Andrew Thomas is making sure he stays healthy. We need him healthy. Last year was injury-riddled season. He still didn't have the worst year at all, but he did miss some games, and he's playing on a hampered leg. The hamstring injury that he had after week 1 really set him aside for a little while. And once again, like Brasillo said, you can't hate a guy when he's been injured. Andrew Thomas, we're not going to hate him because we know this guy's a stud. He just has to stay on the field. And if it wasn't for a blocked kick, a blocked field goal attempt, he probably doesn't get hurt. So let's stay away from blocked field goals. Let's stay away from all those things. And hopefully Andrew Thomas stays healthy. And we know when he's healthy, he's a top 3 left tackle in this league. If not, top 2 and not 2. But you ain't going to hear that from me, man. That's what we got for the offensive line so far, man. I want you guys to let me know down below. Who is the one person you're keying on for this upcoming season? We know it's going to be Evan Neal, but go ahead and let me know down below, man, if there's anyone else you want to see moving up on this offensive line, man. Overall, the Giants do start their mandatory minicamp next week for the next couple of days. We should have everyone in attendance. I believe everyone's been showing up so far. So it's good to see everyone trying to get in, everyone trying to learn, everyone trying to get ramped up on this process. Obviously we got our rookies getting acclimated with that as well. So those mandatory minicamps will take place next week, and I'm excited to see what goes on, man. We are going to be bringing more videos talking about these position groups. The offensive line was the first one, as it is the most important one. The offensive line, we know what the offensive line is, man. Definitely one of the most important ones. So I want you guys to stay tuned for that, man. Once again, next week, I am going on my honeymoon cruise, man. That's why it's been a little silent over here, but I'm gonna have videos scheduled to come out next week. I'm gonna be dropping video after video, so make sure y'all stay tuned for that, man. I appreciate y'all. Hope you subscribe if you're new to the channel, man. Subscribe down below. You already know Road to 10K still active, man. And I'm just ready for this season to continue to pick up, man. You already know this part of the off season feels like the longest part, but I'm just ready for it to start, man. And I'm ready to bring more content for you guys. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.